Welcome to another episode of Taboo Talk, featuring your very own pastor, me, Lady Charmaine Day. Today's show is guaranteed to be full of sensitive, intimate, natural conversations rarely talked about in the Christian community. So now get ready for your own spiritual consultation. Great. Are you ready? Let's begin. How are you doing, beautiful? I know you are marvelous, special, phenomenal, and precious, because these are all adjectives I would use to describe you. You simply are wonderful and marvelous, and you're a blessing to all whom you meet. You take the time to be nice and kind to people, and God works through people, and He's working through you to be a blessing to others. So let me give you a warm round of applause for being so beautiful and kind. Yay! Thank you. Thank you for all that you do. And I have a few announcements before beginning the show. If you haven't already, please download onto your Android or iPhone the Lady Charmaine Day app. This is my free gift to you for being a part of the ministry and watching Taboo Talk. The Lady Charmaine Day app has features that allow you to listen to the radio show, watch the virtual show, read my blog, send me a prayer request by calling me. I will speak to you and let you know what scripture I'm standing on for you. And there's a tip calculator and a QR scanner for your convenience. So please download the free Lady Charmaine Day app today. And while you have a chance, please visit ladycharmaineday.com. There you can read more about this ministry, read more about this show, see my blog, get a free gift, and please visit the store. It's through your purchases of my products and programs that I'm able to continue to do my ministry. And my ministry is done online through this show, through my social media, through my website, and through my app. And if you're following me through one of those mediums, I consider you part of the ministry, and I'm praying for you all the time. And my last announcement before beginning the show is to thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show by tuning in and watching. You make the show successful, and it's because you watch that we're able to do what we do. So thank you so much for participating. Today, we are in for a treat. We have the international abstract artist, Btru3 be on the show. Let me tell you about Btru3. Btru3 was born in Mineola, New York, and grew up in Long Island, New York for 32 years before relocating to North Carolina. Btru3 enjoyed school and being a member of the glee club and band playing the flute. She made the basketball team as a point guard, but quit before playing any games. She graduated from high school and went to Nassau Community College, where she obtained her associate's degree. Today, Btru3 is an abstract artist with over 10 years experience. Her passion for art began when she got her own place and wanted art on her walls, so she created her own. She is the founder and owner of an art business called Btru Expressions and another business called Delect Apparel. What motivated her to start her two businesses was a love for arts and expressing herself through it. And for Elect Apparel, her desire to see Christians to be able to wear clothes that represent their love for Yahweh. Her vision for her abstract art is for art to be in museums, and her mission is to create pieces that are deep and profound and that make you feel something good within. Her passion includes raising her one daughter, Winter, in an atmosphere where she sees and feels love. Her art, getting more stuff out there, living without any regrets, and being truly happy. Btru3 is observant, funny, transparent, and an excellent communicator, as well as charming. Her deepest desire is to leave people feeling like they can trust her to be true to herself and true to them. Help me help you welcome this force of nature, my sister, Btru3. Hello, Btru3, how are you?
Hello, sister. I'm doing wonderful on this Friday. I'm thankful to God to be alive and to be here on this Zoom with you, talking about this topic today. I'm
Yes,
thankful to be alive to talk about this topic.
yes. And let me tell you what the topic is going to be so everyone's on the same page. We're
Okay.
talking about COVID-19 and having lived through COVID-19 and being in recovery. Often people say, Lady Charmaine, have you been impacted by COVID-19? You seem so happy. You seem like there's nothing wrong. Has your family been impacted? Yes. My cousin had COVID-19 and my sister, Btru, had COVID-19. And she's here today to tell her testimony about living with COVID-19 and being in recovery. So I turn the mic over to you, Btru. How was it when you
Okay,
found
so
out?
say it again.
How was it when you found out that you had COVID-19?
How was it, you say?
Yes.
You're breaking up a little bit.
How did you feel when you found out you had COVID-19?
Okay, so I'll never forget the day that it all began. It was a March 21st. It was a Saturday night, and I was listening to music with family, and it was a good day. But my daughter Winter got sick that night. She fell ill with a fever that night on March 21st. And I didn't think anything of it because we didn't really go out anywhere. The only places we went was to the store and back, you know? So I didn't understand it at that point. Around March, it was new, you know, people weren't sure what COVID-19 exactly was, because we heard it was in China, and we were told not to travel really. I did go to New York in February, the beginning of February, but this was all the way, it was like a month and 15 days later, almost 2 months later, that my daughter ended up with a fever. I never got her checked, but she was sick for about 3 days. And then I got sick around March 24th, 25th. And the first thing that I began to feel was this funny, itchy feeling in my throat. And I'm like, okay, well, let me suck on something, piece of candy. Maybe it's just my throat is dry. And so 3 days later after that, I began to get aches and pains, and I lost my sense of smell. And my nose is like a hound. I can smell something 10 miles away. And I just knew something wasn't right because I lost my sense of smell and my sense of my taste. I couldn't taste anything.
Wow.
And my body, my joints were aching really bad, like sharp pains and spasms in my muscles. I had a fever that would come and go. The fever wouldn't go any higher than like 101. And I lost my appetite. By the 5th day, I wasn't eating anymore. I wasn't hungry. But I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't go to the doctor. I tried to call the doctor, but they said that they couldn't come. They wouldn't see me because I'd never been to their office. I only took my daughter there. I wanted to go to a new doctor, and I wanted to go to this family practice that my daughter goes to. And my daughter ended up feeling better. On the 3rd day, she was better, but she did also have a fever on March 21st. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought maybe she just came down with something. But then when I got sick, I was like, okay, well, is this the flu? I thought it was the flu at first. By the 5th day, I thought it was the flu. But then after 5 days, and I started to do some home remedies, like there's some things that I use for home remedies, and that wasn't working. Because when I had the flu last year, I used these home remedies, and by the 3rd day, I was feeling better. But this time around, nothing was changing with the home remedies. So after the 5th day, I'm like, okay, this is really serious. This is really getting really bad for me. I still had a fever that wouldn't break, even with like NyQuil, and I hate taking that kind of stuff, NyQuil, but I wanted some relief. So when I would take the NyQuil, I took NyQuil 3 days. The fever wouldn't break still, even with the NyQuil. I would lay in the bed sweating profusely and coughing. And then I started coughing on the third day too. And so aches and pains, fever, chills, sweating, cold sweats, 1 minute feeling okay, next minute not feeling okay. And it would get worse whenever I would just lay there and sit in the bed. But I was still able to get up and take care of my child and things like that. I still wanted to get up and do my motherly duties. My mother was here, but I still wanted to do everything, you know, for my child. I still had enough energy to do it. But like I said, after the 5th day, nothing seemed to clear up. And I was taking the NyQuil, that didn't help. I said, you know what? I started on the 6th day, I started having diarrhea.
Wow.
The run really bad. And it was like, you know, when you go to get an examination and if they're checking your colon, you have to drink a special drink to clear yourself out. Well, that's how the diarrhea was. It was like coming out like water from a faucet. That's how bad the diarrhea was. It got to the point where the diarrhea wasn't even poop anymore. It was just water, like for my organs, I guess, for my body, just kind of detoxing myself. So for 5 days I had diarrhea. So by the 10th day, I was throwing up and I had diarrhea and I was feeling nauseous. I lost my sense of smell. After the 5th day, I wasn't eating anymore. So I was dehydrated and hungry. Well, hungry, but not hungry. And so by the 10th day, I said, you know what? Let me look on Google and see where I can go to get tested for COVID-19 because I think I have it. This is beyond flu. At that point, I realized I do not have the flu. This is COVID-19. So I go to an urgent care place around my neighborhood, and they have a tent outside. And, you know, at first I'm like, why is the tent outside? But I go and they take my temperature and they asked me a few questions and then told me to sit in my car and that the doctor would come. After I told them all my symptoms, they were like, okay, well, we'll definitely test you for COVID. But first we want to test you for strep and for flu 1 and flu 2, flu A or B or something like that. And so the doctor comes out and they do a swab in my nose for the flu, or I think they just did swabs in my throat, I believe, or my nose, I forget. And then they gave me my results for that, and it came back that it wasn't the flu A or B or strep. So then the doctor was like, we definitely want to test you for COVID now, but it's going to take 5 days for you to get your results. So they had me sitting outside once again in my car waiting for the doctor to test me for COVID. He finally came out and he talked with me and I told him my symptoms. And at first he was like, well, it doesn't sound like you have COVID because diarrhea and throwing up is not part of the symptoms for COVID. But I think it was like a new symptom for some people, and it was a symptom for me. I was throwing up and I had diarrhea. Not a lot of people had that particular symptom. I had the coughing and I felt like I could breathe still, but the coughing wasn't my issue. It was the throwing up and the diarrhea. My digestive system was disrupted with this COVID-19. It was messing with that. And so the reason I went to urgent care because I was afraid that I was becoming dehydrated. I felt like I was going to pass out, really. And so they tested me for COVID-19, and I sat in the sun waiting for the doctors to come and test me. And I realized the sun was making me feel a little better as I was sitting there and sitting outside and getting some fresh air too. So they tested me that day, which was a Friday. I'll never forget, it was a Friday. And then that next day, I began to feel better. After the 10th day, I began to feel better. I began to feel like I had more energy to do things. And the diarrhea began to subside a little bit, and the vomiting began to subside, and I was able to drink. And I wanted to be on IV, but he was like, well, you know, the doctor said to me, he was like, well, if you're able to keep down fluids, I don't want to really hook you up to an IV. So see if you can hold down your fluids for 1 day. And then the next day, if you can't, come back and we'll hook you up to IV. But what I realized was by me sitting outside in the sun, waiting for them to test me, it did something to me, like the heat from the sun, because then the next day I began to feel better. And so I said to myself, you know what, let me get 15 minutes of sunlight 3 times a day and see if this is going to help me feel better. Because I was steaming my face at first, you know, putting my face in a pot with steam and doing that, but that wasn't really working either. It may have worked, but it wasn't working instantly. But sitting in the sunlight seemed to help. So on the 14th day, 3 days later, I got my results that I had COVID-19. That Friday, I got tested, and then by Sunday, I think it was Sunday or Monday, I got my results that I had COVID-19. But by that point, I was feeling better already. So it was 14 days that I was.
How did you feel when they told you, Btru, you have COVID-19? What went through your head? What were you feeling?
I cried like a baby, because by that time it was 14 days and I made it through and I began to feel better and I cried.
Yes. Yes. Yes, sister.
Excuse me.
All right.
It was something like I've never experienced in my life. I've never been that sick before. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was absolutely horrible. I had every symptom that you can name with that whatever the virus. It was, I didn't know if I was gonna get through it. I was like, when is this gonna stop? It just felt like it was gonna go on and on and on. Even after 14 days, I coughed and felt ill still for 40 days.
Wow. And
then after 40 days, for 30 days more, I had the driest mouth. It didn't matter what I did, not how much water I drank. My mouth was so dry, my tongue was so white. It just threw my body off balance. And it did something to me that I still feel kind of, it left a mark in me of something like in my digestive system that I'm still trying to balance out. And so that's the recovery part of it. But I felt very emotional because I made fun of it at first. I didn't believe it. I thought it was a gimmick. I'm like, oh, they're making this up to try to scare us. And they have these parody songs in the beginning. They have these parody songs of people making fun of it. And I sent it to somebody one time in a group email, and someone responded, well, it's not really funny. This is serious. We need to take this serious. And I was one of those people that didn't take it serious. And next thing you know, I'm suffering with it. So I was just thankful in the end that I made it through, because I'm like, this could have took me out. So when I got the results, I was very humble and thankful that I was feeling better and that I made it, because I didn't want to go to the hospital. I did not, I don't like, I'm not big on medication and being hooked up to this and that and them poking and probing me. I just not a fan of that. If I can do it myself and take care of myself and kind of just endure, I'd rather that. And so I was thankful that I was able to avoid going to the hospital, because all I was hearing is people dying as soon as they went to the hospital. Right. I was like, that's not going to be me. I don't want to go to the hospital. But some people do, once you realize that you're not well and it's getting bad, yeah, you should go to the hospital. That's why I went to urgent care.
Okay. Btru, we have a question for Omega. Omega, you have a question?
Yeah, my question was, do you think it would have actually been counterproductive to stay in the house like they advise people, once they find out that they have COVID-19, since you said while you were outside in the sun, you felt like it was starting to make you feel better?
Well, definitely I needed to be quarantined. And it's weird because my mother was here and she never caught it. And I was in the kitchen cooking and cleaning and still, doing those things. I'm like that. I'm just like, that's the primitive nature in me, to just continue to survive. And so she never caught it. I made sure I wiped down things and everything. But yeah, definitely if you have COVID-19, I would suggest if you can find a place where you can go outside and get about 15 minutes of sunlight a day for about 3 times a day, because there's something I believe with the sunlight and the heat from the sunlight hitting this area in your chest, your nasal area in your chest, that helps heal you from it.
Oh.
But definitely be safe, you know, because I believe that you can get COVID if you're around someone who is actively sick with it. I believe that's how I got it. I don't know how I don't know if my child had COVID-19, but I'm putting 2 and 2 together that she did, and it just didn't affect her the way it did me, because she was able to recover from it quickly. But I believe we were around someone that was sick, and they didn't know they had it because it was during the time where we weren't sure what COVID-19 really was and how you catch it. And we didn't think it was here in the States yet. So I think someone close to us had it, and we were around them towards the end of February, and they were still coughing. They had like a cough, like flu-like symptoms, and they were sick around the end of February. And then next thing you know, a week later, you know, my daughter was sick, and then that person came around again, and then 3 days later, I was sick. So I don't know if it was something to do with that, or going out to the store and touching shopping carts and going to the public bathroom. I read somewhere where the germ COVID can live on shopping carts when you go shopping. So we were just going to like the supermarket and things, but you know, your child likes to touch everything. So I'm thinking maybe she might have picked something up from a shopping cart, and maybe that's how she got sick, or we got sick from someone who didn't know that they had it. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, it did answer the
Yeah.
question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it definitely answered it. I just a follow-up question, because you said about the shopping carts and touching things, and you said your mother was with you at the time.
Yes.
So were you guys wiping things down or not? Because then how did she not contract it?
I have, to the glory of God, I don't know how she caught it, because she used the same shower as me, same bathrooms, everything. But I'm a clean freak, and so I would bleach everything. I use bleach and Lysol. I would spray the doorknobs every time I touched it. I stayed in my room most of the time, and I stayed on this couch here too. But see, that's why and I had a mask on. I wore a mask around the house all day, and I would wipe down everything. And when I finished showering, I would spray the shower down with bleach and water and soap. And that's how I maintain cleanliness in the house. But still, I'm surprised that I got it, and my daughter may have had it, but she never got it. So very, very thankful that she didn't.
Tasha, sorry, Btru, I have a question for you.
Yes, that's fine. You can call me Tasha Btru3.
No, I'm sorry, Btru. Btru, most people, when they hear COVID-19, they think that's a death sentence. How did you feel when you heard COVID-19? Did you think, oh my God, I might not live? Or no, for me, I'm going to survive, I'm going to thrive, and I'm going to recover from this? What was your mentality around the whole issue?
I never thought about death. I didn't think that I was going to die. My faith believed that I was going to get through it. I just wasn't sure what was happening and what damage it was going to cause to me. So I was more concerned about that. I was concerned about just being dehydrated and maybe passing out. And I just didn't want to go to the hospital because I felt like they were going to harm me more than COVID. So I don't want to put a negative light on hospitals and doctors or anything, but that was just my thought, that I didn't want to go to the hospital. I wanted to be strong enough to take care of it myself. But like I said, by the 10th day, I was like, okay, I'm going to pass out somewhere. So at that point, I did feel like, okay, this is really hurting me, and it's causing it's causing some damage here. And so I didn't think about death though. I didn't think, okay, I'm going to die, because I didn't have that type of cough where it felt like I couldn't breathe.
Right.
I was able to control my breathing for some reason. I was able to cough and still breathe, even though I would cough constantly, and that part was a challenge and a struggle. I still was able to breathe. I didn't really have a problem with that. It was more, like I said, the digestive issues that I was having that was causing possible detrimental things to me, that if I didn't go to urgent care, I could have fainted and maybe had a heart attack if I didn't get enough fluids and potassium and things like that. So I was still trying to drink water, even though I was throwing it up. And I think I just was drinking Gatorade and getting my electrolytes that way, so I didn't die from it, you know. But
Yeah.
I didn't have that in my mind.
I tell you, when I found out that you had COVID-19, there wasn't a moment where I thought, I'm going to lose my sister. I'm like, no, she's going to heal and recover from this. That was the key phrase, healing and recovery. And I kept praying to God,
Amen.
heal my sister, please let her recover. Please let her be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I think someone has a question. Thank you, sister.
Yes, who has a question?
I do.
Go ahead, Gina.
Okay, so 2 questions. One is, have you been to and gotten a physical since you've had COVID? Because there's a lot of residual stuff that can happen in your system after you have COVID. That's my first question.
No, I have not. I did have a doctor's appointment just the end of August, but I canceled it because I'm like, I don't want to be in no doctor's office with this COVID. I do believe you could catch it again. And I just didn't feel like dealing with any kind of sick situations.
Gotcha. My second question is, how is this going to influence your artwork? Do you think it's going to have some effect?
Well, actually, it brought out the artist in me. Like, while I was sick, I was listening to, like I said, March 21st, I was listening to this DJ called DJ D Nice. He just had, for that week, he was playing music from his home. And that Saturday, I tuned in to his set, and he was playing music. And I was like, wow, this is so nostalgic. Like, he was playing all sorts of music, and it was really, it made me feel good. So during the time that I was sick, he was playing, there were different DJs, DJ D Nice and DJ Questlove. They were playing music, and with them playing that music, it gave me like the energy, and it lifted my spirit to kind of get up and create my art. So I was listening to the music, feeling good. It gave me the strength to kind of get up and say, you know what, I'm going to still stay motivated, that I'm going to beat this thing. And it brought out the creativity in me, actually. Listening to the music, thinking positive thoughts that I'm going to be okay. It put a smile on my face. It motivated me to want to create and see. I created most of these pieces during my experience with COVID. I have a lot of art in my home on my walls. And for the 40 days, that's what I did, was create.
Wow.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's excellent. And you're a survivor of COVID-19.
Yeah.
What are some life lessons that you learned going through this that you want to share with everyone else?
Life lessons from having COVID-19. Don't take life for granted. You know, enjoy your life, live your best life, live with purpose, you know, set goals for yourself, surround yourself with positive energy and vibes and people that will motivate you, that are wishing you the best in life. Surround yourself with people like that. Stay true to yourself, express yourself, communicate your feelings and thoughts when you find that one person or people that you could talk to. And don't give up on yourself, you know. There was a point before COVID-19, I felt like I gave up on myself. And having COVID-19, and like I said, listening to the music and creating my art, it just brought a newness out of me. It made me feel like, you know what, I forgot about myself. I had lost some weight with the COVID-19. I lost about 20, 30 pounds.
Wow.
So I shedded some weight, and I began to look in the mirror, and I began to see myself again because I had lost myself. So what it taught me is to not, never give up on yourself. Don't allow yourself to ever get so deep in a funk that you forget about yourself, that you forget to self-care and self-love on yourself,
Amen.
and surround yourself with people that pour into you good things and that you could pour into as well.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Excellent. Those are some deep life lessons that you learned the hard way. But
Yes.
thank you for sharing that, because just hearing it, I feel like I learned it too. So thank you so much.
Yes. It helped me a lot. It was bittersweet. It's been a very bittersweet experience. The bitter part was the COVID-19. The sweet part is me discovering my love for my art and creating my website, and feeling motivated to push this and to continue to want more for that and to be more creative. So, and I wasn't doing that before COVID-19.
Wow. So do you feel like you have a
I was just kind of sitting.
Like, do you feel like you have a second chance at life?
I do feel like I have this, I keep telling myself for the 20s, for 2020, for this decade, it's all about self-love, self-care, and pouring into me, investing in me, and finding things that I could do that will help build myself up and help others in the process. And like I said, just surrounding myself with positive energy, and I've also experienced some loss in this time too. Going through a separation and a divorce, that was a revelation as well, that I wasn't at a place. There was differences that would never be I can't say the word. I can't think of the word, but
Resolved?
Yeah, that we just weren't on the same page. And we'll never probably be. And I don't want to discuss this on here, but it's part of my experience with COVID-19, realizing just what I desire in life and what I want for my future in this decade. And that is just, I want everyone to be happy. I want to be happy. And I want to live my best life, And I felt like before COVID-19, I really wasn't living my best life, I'm thankful for my child and, what the experience has brought me. But it's over there. But going forward, it just taught me that I want to not take anything for granted and live every moment, with a purpose, and not just let things be if I'm not happy, Got to be happy. I want to be happy in life.
And you deserve happiness, Btru. We're so glad that you learned these life lessons to help you see that life is about enjoyment. It's about being happy. It's about expressing yourself and giving back and someone giving to you and giving and receiving.
Yes.
And if you're not receiving, then you have to let go and move on so that you
Yes.
the love that you need to be nurtured and grow and develop the way you should be, because you're an abstract artist who deserves happiness and love and light.
Yes, absolutely. Someone that, I love being creative, and not to say my marriage wasn't, that person wasn't creative, and they're actually, a lot of people think that person is wonderful, and that person is. It's just that, when something doesn't work, it just doesn't work, and you have to let go, like you said, and you have to live in your purpose, and you have to surround yourself with people who you can exchange energy with, that is going to help you with that creativity or help you with your purpose in life. And because I do believe we're here to help one another and to love one another and to comfort one another. And if you're not able to give that to someone and they're not able to give that to you, then it's okay to let go and to, you know, wish them well and not, you know, not to put a negative light on the person or anything. But like I said, if it just doesn't work, it just doesn't work. And that's what I realized, that, wow, I'm not being true to me. And this is what I love, and this is what I like to do, and this is what I desire, and this is what I want. And I don't feel like I'm getting it, and I want more, you know? And do I see myself getting these things in this situation? And I said to myself, no. So like I said, COVID-19 just brought out so many things, bitter and sweet, during this time. And I'm appreciative of it all because, like I said, I'm discovering things about myself that I didn't realize before. And most of it is self-love and self-care, knowing my worth and being happy.
Btru, a question for you. Is there any stigma surrounding COVID-19? Do people treat you differently because you had COVID-19?
That's a good question. Okay, I hear a lot of jokes. I see a lot of parodies on social networks about COVID-19, and it gets me a little upset because I was that person. I would joke and I would laugh at the videos that people would make about COVID-19. I'm just like, people are dying by the droves. This is not a light topic or thing. This is a very serious matter. Families are dying. My cousin had COVID-19. He's a firefighter. He had it and survived. My aunt, I think, may have had it, but she wasn't sure. She never got tested. She survived. But there's a lot of people who did not survive. And so I think there's the people that feel like they're not going to be touched by it or affected by it, who don't take it very seriously. And so what I would say to those type of people is, don't joke about it. It's really not funny. Don't make light of it. The sly remarks about it is not really funny. I would just not talk about it in that way, because it's, like I said, it's really killed a lot of people and even harmed other people in other ways, health-wise. They're just not the same anymore. Their bodies are not the same, you know, and they're left with the aftermath of it and still struggling with that. So it's really not something to take lightly.
I hear you. I'm sorry if you have experienced any discrimination because of it, because people are cruel and not thoughtful sometimes. And people need to know that this is something very serious. It's life-threatening, and it's no joke. And those who are dealing with it, they don't need you up there making funny comments about it when it's affecting their lives.
So, sis, my daughter's yelling for me upstairs. Can I take just one moment?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Just 1 minute.
Well, while she's taking a moment, I wanted to say I'm so grateful that Btru is alive, healthy, and we're in recovery. She looks great, and she has shared with us so many life lessons. I'm telling you, you get a chance, rewind the tape and listen to what she's saying, because those are life lessons that anybody can use. Be true to yourself, self-care, self-love, self-worth. You're worth something. You're worthy. And knowing that you deserve love and happiness and to be taken care of and to be loved by yourself as well as others is very important. Gina, did you have something you would like to say?
No, one of the things that I think living through this pandemic, I haven't had COVID yet. Hopefully I won't have it, or none of us, you know, and I've had friends who've had it, but every little moment, everything's become so much more precious.
Yes.
Than, you know, like moments with my daughter, like I just cherish them much more. Moments with my husband, or just You know, I live here in Costa Rica, and thank God I live by the beach, and every once in a while, I don't go a lot, but every once in a while, we, you know, a friend and I walk on the beach, and we're like, we're so lucky to be here. And I just feel like, you know, that she's right. You can't take it for granted, you know, and we just have to, if it's teaching us to, if God is teaching us to appreciate every moment, if that's what we're supposed to get, I think that's a great thing to get, because I don't think we do. Personally, I know I didn't as much.
Me neither. So that's a great one.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And Btru, we have a question from Omega for you.
Yes.
Question. So now that you've gone through the COVID-19 and you've had that experience, what are your thoughts on vaccinations at this point, and what, you know, would you encourage somebody to take the vaccination, or would you encourage someone to sort of try and fight it off, or, you know, what would be your suggestion or your choice?
Ooh, that's a good question, because it can get real controversial, because I am not an advocate for vaccinations, unfortunately, and that's frowned upon a lot from a lot of people, that, you know, if you don't vaccinate, that you're doing some type of harm to yourself and to others. And I just, by my faith in God, I don't believe that. And I believe, I'm a strong believer that if you do anything outside of faith, then it goes against your conscience and against your beliefs. And so I do not have faith in vaccinations. If they were to come out with, and I think they said they have one, or I'm not sure, I haven't read upon it, but I wouldn't take it, because I'm not a believer. I don't believe in. At first, it seems too soon to me. And I feel like we're being tested like guinea pigs or something. If, you know, we take it. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor to really say. But what I do believe is that by faith, I don't believe in it, and I don't trust it, and I wouldn't take it, because one size doesn't fit all. And everybody is different genetically, DNA wise, and blood types and things. You got to take all that into account, and what's exactly in this vaccination. They never give us the insert to show us what the adverse effects are for taking a vaccination. And I believe genetically, you know, vaccinations and myself doesn't really work well. I've seen, you know, since I was a child, have eczema for certain things. I'm allergic to aluminum and, you know, certain things. So they don't give us enough information to trust what they put inside these vaccinations. What exactly is in this vaccination? Give me the insert. Allow me to make the choice. But I feel like they're going to force people to take it. And if you don't, then this and that and the other will happen. And I want to have the freedom to say no. It's my body, and I say no. Just like a woman is allowed to have an abortion, I want to be allowed to say, no, I don't want this vaccination. You allow women to abort their babies, I want to be allowed to say no. But I think they would like to take that freedom away from us and force us to have it. But in my opinion, no, I would not take the vaccination, because it goes against my faith in God.
Omega, you had another question?
The other one, it was still in regards to vaccination, because that was just a follow-up, really, because I know they said that they had tested out the vaccinations a little bit, but they were testing them on people who didn't have any illnesses, any core, morbidities or anything like that. So, and the people that they want to have the vaccinations, I know, are the people who have these pre-existing conditions. So it's sort of like, you know, controversial in that whole approach to, you know, who do you vaccinate, who do you not vaccinate, and who needs it the most. And if the people who already have the sicknesses are injected with whatever the virus, the active virus, then, you know, those people they haven't really tested anything on those people. So yeah, I could understand your point of view. Definitely.
Thank you. I have a question for you, Btru3.
Yes.
Btru3, you have shared with us your insights on having COVID-19, what it was like to have the signs and symptoms, and what it was like to go through. And my final question for you is, what are your final thoughts that you would like to share with this listening audience today about COVID-19 and your journey and what you've learned, or what you want people to know about you, or anything else that you would like to express?
Okay, well, protect yourself when you go out. Wear your mask. I know when people sneeze and cough that it can mist in the air and stay in the air like an aerosol and be misty in the air. And even if you're 6 feet away or 10 feet or how many feet, it may still be in the air. So wear your mask. Wash your hands, of course. Be thorough about washing your hands. I would take off my shoes before I, enter my home and maintain that. Take off your clothes when you get in the house. And a lot of people wipe down when you go to the supermarket and you buy stuff. People wipe down their products and stuff before they put it in the refrigerator. You may want to do that. But I would just say, keep your mask on. Stay away from anyone that's sick, even if it's not COVID, just stay away. I still would social distance. It's time out for the partying and getting together in big groups. I still think we still need to social distance and find ways to connect with one another, whether it be Zoom or Instagram or Facebook Live or Instagram Live. There's other ways to connect. And get tested if you can, if you want to, if you're going to be around a group of people, get tested to protect yourself and others. Just be mindful because not everyone survives it. So you can't just think that if you get it, you're going to survive. So don't take it for granted. Don't joke about it. It's really not funny. There's people that have lost their family members. And so just keep that in mind and be empathetic about that. I'm thankful that it motivated me to be more creative. So definitely pushing my art, my website, Btru3 on pixel.com. You can go to my website on Instagram. Well, you can go to my Instagram page and it's Btru3 as you put in the information. And so I just want to continue to promote that and continue to be creative and create more pieces that people really like and enjoy. I have so much in store for me. I see such big things for me in the future. For this decade, I really see it being all about, like I said, self-love, self-care, getting closer to God again, and really knowing my worth and sticking to that, trusting God and hearing his voice and being obedient to that. Because I believe when we draw closer to God, things become clearer and he's able to show us favor and provision and revelation and truth to guide us in this life that will keep us on level ground with a strong foundation underneath us. So that's what I pray, that I continue to draw closer to God and not get distracted by the cares of this world, and not allowing the lust in me sometimes to desire what I see and what my body might want, or what, like I said, just the cares of this world to get the best of me. So just investing in me, self-love, self-care, creating and promoting my art. And I homeschool my child. I want to be able to be successful in that. Okay. And finding something that I could do from home to create more income for myself, so I can do that and take care of her too.
Nice.
So. Call me because I could help you with that.
Oh, really? Look at that.
Yes,
that's a blessing. Yes. I appreciate that. Any
Yeah.
help I can get, because I've been kind of stuck on thinking, how am I going to do this? I want to be here for her. And then, you know, going out and getting a 9-to-5 and needing the help. And like I said, I'm going through a separation and divorce. How
Right.
can I take care of myself and my daughter, who's going to watch her? And I got to, you know, so you need a network. You need a tribe to
Right.
help.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lady Charmaine has my information, and I can hook you up and we can have a conversation.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Wow. I would have never thought that this would result that.
Right.
You never know where God will meet you.
No.
That's right. No.
Omega, you had a question?
Yeah, one last one, I guess, before we go. Since you're not going to take the vaccine and you don't advocate for it, are you willing to sort of, well, it seems like, go through life now with a mask on for the rest of your life and stay away from people for...
I would. Well, I'm an introvert anyway. I'm introverted, extroverted, so I don't mind the social distance. I'm a homebody, so I don't really mind. I don't really party like that or need to have to be around crowds of people. I do love people, don't get me wrong. I do like to socialize, but I don't mind wearing the mask for a little bit of time. So I don't mind staying home and, you know, not having to wear the mask, but when I'm out, I don't mind wearing the mask. I'd rather that than have side effects from a vaccination that I'm not sure what's in it. How's it gonna, you know, harm me, if it's gonna cause any harm. I'd just rather not deal with that, you know, because I really do believe it can mess with the serotonin in your digestive system and your brain activity and your skin and cause allergies and immune issues and things. So I just don't have faith in it. So I'd rather wear a mask than deal with, you know, the negative effects that can come with it possibly.
Okay, because they also say there's some information out there, not a lot, about the masks themselves, like the plastics and off-gassing and continued exposure to inhalation to that stuff may actually be detrimental to, you know, people with respiratory conditions or even regular people.
I'm hoping that they come out with something better for us to wear, to create. I know they have sometimes the clear plastic shield that you can wear, but I don't know how safe that is because it could still, something can come up underneath it. But hopefully they create something where people who don't vaccinate can wear something that's more breathable and doesn't cause those issues. But I'd rather that than, like I said, taking the vaccination, because I just don't have faith in it. So, I don't mind. I really just don't have faith in it. I'm sorry. Like I just would go, I would be so, my conscience would be so hurt that I would feel like I'm sinning against God. I'm sorry. That's just like how I feel. Like if they were to inject me with it, I really would be like screaming inside that I did something wrong. I don't know. I just don't have faith in it. That's just me. I'm not trying to convince anyone else to do that. That's just for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you have another question, Omega?
No, that was it.
Okay. Tasha, thank you so much for coming on Taboo Talk today and sharing with us your testimony, your lessons learned, and all the things that you shared with us, which was so helpful and insightful. And it was just a breath of fresh air. So thank you, my sister. I love you. And I'm so glad that you have recovered from COVID-19 and are blossoming and looking beautiful.
Thank you so much, sister, for having me talk about this topic and having me on your show and meeting Gina. Thank you. And Omega, I'm sending you love and to the family, and love to you, sister. I appreciate you and all the positivity that you always show me and, you know, float in my direction. You always stay positive. So I appreciate that. I need that in my life. It's always good to have that in your life.
Yes. And you know what? Will you come back on Taboo Talk again to talk about a different topic sometime in the future?
Oh, you're breaking up.
Will you come back to Taboo Talk in the future?
Yes, most certainly.
All right.
Definitely.
Thank you.
This was fun. I enjoyed this. And perfectly in an hour. We got it all out in an hour.
And Btru3, can you just say your website and URLs one more time, please?
Oh, I really, can they look for it on YouTube when you put it up? Because I don't really, if they go to my Instagram page, which is Btru, so it's BTRU, the number 3, and then underscore on Instagram, my website link is on my Instagram page. And you can get to pieces of artwork that I put on my website from my Instagram page. My Instagram page has all of my artwork, and my website doesn't really have all of my artwork. I'm choosy about what I upload because I don't want to put everything on there. But if there's a piece of artwork that you see on my Instagram page that you like that's not on my website, just let me know, make a comment or send me a direct message and I'll upload it. But you can get to my website through my Instagram page, which is Btru, like I said, at BTRU3_ on Instagram.
All right. And for those who want to buy a piece of artwork from Btru, her website is in the show notes. So please support my sister. Help her
Thank you.
by getting her art. Her art is beautiful. It's phenomenal. It'll make your home look beautiful. And you'll be helping out someone who's very, very special.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. But we have come to the end of our show. This show was done because you are very, very special, deserving nothing less than what God has promised you. And God has promised you a healthy, peaceful, prosperous, wonderful life. Continue seeking God's face in all that you do, and God will continue to show up and be there for you. Taboo Talk, which exists to transform your mind, body, and spirit, utilizing the principles of Jesus Christ, exists to help transform your mind. So please keep tuning in to Taboo Talk for a word in season. I promise you, I'll bring people like Btru, my sister, on the show who will help guide you and direct you and take you to the next level. And until next time, take care of yourself. Stay special. Goodbye.